Hey there, Internet. Welcome to the Hard On Gear channel, where I discuss and review my used and abused knives and gear. I've been meaning to talk about this watch for a while now, and I got this about 3 months ago, and it has been on my wrist ever since. The Casio Pro Trek, whatever the numbers are that are in the title and probably on the screen right now. If that first 20 seconds didn't give it away, I am not a watch guy, and I'm sorry, this is not a watch channel. This is the Hard On Gear channel. However, I did name it Hard On Gear, not Hard On Knives, so I could have the option to maybe talk about some of this stuff. So briefly, without being a watch person, I'm going to give you my quick assessment and very brief review of this watch from a non-watch person's perspective. That's important. So Ty Goodwin, let me know if you want me to stop shouting you out, but a couple of good gear recommendations that you deserve credit for, and one of them being this. I knew that he was a watch guy, and in particular a G-Shock guy. G-Shocks, I don't like big bulky watches. For one, I'm going to snag it on everything. I've had larger watches, and anything with a larger face just gets caught on everything. This is as big as I'd want on my wrist, and it's kind of pushing it, but this is a little bit larger than my Timex Triathlon, or whatever the hell it was, Ironman Triathlon, I think. Again, not a watch guy, but that's just a very basic $60 to $70 Canadian watch, about 50 bucks American for that Timex Triathlon. I had that for years, and I had a similar one for years before that. The previous one I had was Velcro because the resin strap, or I don't know if it was actual like a resin material, same as this one, but the previous Timex one I had ripped off my wrist several times, and I had to put the pins back in and all that stuff. I was a little bit nervous going to this one, but it's not like this is an uncommon type of strap or anything like that for a person to use, especially military, law enforcement, all that kind of stuff. People have used these Pro Treks for all kinds of stuff, as far as I can tell, including hiking and forestry, wildfire, and all sorts of stuff. This really is, I think, one of the most popular base models for the triple sensor, whatever you call it. So this has got the compass, barometer, and altimeter, which when I went to Tyler, I said, hey, I'm looking for a watch that gives me kind of the G-Shock features, like that triple sensor, and kind of the baseline of what you'd expect from a watch of this caliber. But two things. I didn't want it to be gigantic, like your typical G-Shock. Didn't want it to be any larger than my old Timex. And I wanted it to not cost $800 freaking dollars, preferably not even $500. And this Casio Pro Trek, I believe in the States, again, depending on the shops that you're getting these at, anywhere is between like $250 and $270, I think sounds about right. And if you're in Canada, you're paying a little bit more, like over $300 for this thing, maybe $320. So I'd be lying if I told you I've got this thing totally figured out. And I've watched a few videos when I first got it, but I'm much more of a trial and error and figure things out through breaking them and being hard on the stuff. So I sort of went through my own process of figuring out how to use this. And while I'm sure I'm missing out, over time, I'm sure people will help me dial in my what I'm missing, and maybe some of the features of this that are extremely helpful that I don't know exist. It's pretty simple. There's nothing fancy about this thing. It's not a tracker for like health or anything like that. I've got the Whoop strap on my other arm, and that's what I've been using for over a year now for fitness tracking and sleep and all that kind of stuff. Phenomenal fitness tracker. You're paying a monthly subscription versus the one lump sum of $300-400 or whatever, but the updates and the data and everything that goes into this is just beyond the other fitness trackers that I'm aware of. Anyways, the Casio Pro Trek does everything that this thing does not. Tells time, gives me the date, gives me the temperature and the air pressure, which I know a little bit about weather from my advanced fire weather training, fire science training, wildfire stuff. A lot of it's based on weather and wind and low pressure systems moving in and screwing up your fire line. So I've got a very, very novice understanding of weather and pressure systems. This has been helping me figure it out and at least keep track of patterns and trends in the atmosphere as weather patterns change. You can set it so there's an alarm when the pressure system goes up or down, or I think it might just be down. Maybe whenever there's a large change in pressure. You have the front face here. You can have it so it's date and time, the day of the week and the day of the month, or the numerical month and day, or the recent trend of pressure, which you can see that it was recently very low pressure, it was windy as heck, and the pressure system has, the air pressure has increased rather, so it's now a high pressure system over us at 1033. Anything under 1,000 HPA is getting to be unstable atmosphere and pretty windy and pretty erratic. And if there's any meteorologists watching the channel, feel free to correct anything I'm saying down in the comments. Also, if you don't mind, could you hit the like button down in the bottom left there? Appreciate that. So aside from typical time stuff, like I use the alarm on this every morning. This is a little counterintuitive to my Timex triathlon or Ironman. I keep messing up the names. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but it's a very classic, typical $60, $70 budget watch. I'm sure people are familiar with. And I just turned my alarm off. So I got to be careful playing around with this thing or I'm going to screw up all my settings. So signal on, alarm, alarm. Yeah, I'm going to make sure I have this stuff all dialed in here so I don't accidentally screw it up. Okay, yeah, snooze, you've got options. You've got 3 or 4 different alarms you can set if you want to go back and forth for time zones or whatever. There's my alarm, and I want that on. There we go. That little side barometer button is your on. Again, this is not a review, and I cannot tell you exactly what's going on because I'm mostly just doing this from muscle memory from the last few months of fidgeting around on my wrist. What I do have turned on right now, which I'm going to turn off, is as you raise this, did I just turn that off by accident somehow? I totally did, unless it's, oh, maybe just because it's light out. Yeah, that might be it. So you can have this set so it raises to wake, kind of like your phone raises and the light comes on if you're in the dark. However, if like at night, I kind of wear my watch all the time. So if I happen to wake up and like scratch my face or something like that, I get an LED right in the face. So that's not cool. The compass blows me away. I did not expect a compass on a watch for $350 to be able to do what this thing does. I've checked this with my standard high quality compass before, and it's almost dead on. It takes a few seconds sometimes to adjust as you turn around if you're moving quickly, and maybe you want to make sure that it stays in one spot for 3 to 5 seconds, but phenomenal use. And if you don't have a compass on you, this thing, I'm confident enough to use this, especially gauging with the sun and having a few different whatever you want to call like cross checks there just to make sure that it's not totally uncalibrated. I'm pretty comfortable using this. The altimeter is handy, although where I am pretty close to sea level, it's not something I really have to think about too much. I got on the main face there. So yeah, it's showing minus 99 meters below sea level. So I don't think that's set accurately. I haven't really messed with it much, again, because I'm pretty much at sea level. But if when I get to places with more altitude and especially more elevation changes, it'll be incredibly handy to know where you're at and how much distance you're covering vertically. The neat thing about the compass too is the declination setting. So if you know anything about navigating by compass, you're using true north, not mag north for the most part. So if you're dead center on the axis, on that vertical axis of the Earth, which I believe right now zero declination is somewhere in like Manitoba. Don't know where that falls in the States. But essentially, if you're on the East Coast, you have to adjust, depending on how far you are from that center point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So out here right now in the East Coast of Canada, it's somewheres in between like, I think 14 and 18 declination to the west. So you can set that on here, which means if you don't have that set, you're going to be however many 10, 15, 20 degrees off your mark, which isn't a big deal on a few hundred meters, but if you're going a kilometer or 10 kilometers, it's exponentially going to screw your path the further along you go if you're any degree off, whatever. So, you know, they say a course correction's always good because the longer you go off course, even a small degree, you end up way off course in the end. Good analogy for life. But in the terms of compasses, declination is a very, very important thing, and I wasn't sure if this would have it or not. You're covered there. Just to go through the main modes here, just to show you what's on the main face. So there's your time, then sunrise, sundown, then your, what's this, recorded times. I don't even know exactly what this one is. I think this is all recorded stats of everything that you're tracking, whether it's times or ascending, descending a hill, whatever. And then we have a stopwatch, which I forgot to reset 87 hours ago, of course. How's that reset? Start, stop, reset. Reset. Yeah, that's it. Obviously, again, still don't have this dialed in very well. The timer I use a lot more for whatever, cold showers, workouts, running, if I want to do intervals or something. So that's pretty handy. Have that one figured out pretty good. The alarm is number 5. I just know if I'm doing this, you know, you'll hear a different beep when you go back to your main face. I know it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get to alarm, another 3 to get home, or you can 5, hold down your mode, and that'll bring you back home. But where are we at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the alarm. 6 is UTC, your standard time, global UTC, universal time. Again, this is stuff I don't think about or talk about ever. Let me know if I'm even close. Number 7, receive. I've never even looked at this. What is this? I have no idea. Somebody let me know in the comments. Again, in the review, at some point I'll do a full, thorough review of this thing. Maybe once I've fully learned about watches and what this thing can do. For now, somebody let me know what the hell this 7th face is. Again, this is not a full idea of what you can expect from the Casio Pro Trek versus some other fancy watch if you know all about watches. If you don't know a thing about watches and you're just looking to know, is this something I would want to purchase that's not too complicated but can still do everything I want it to do and probably more, I can tell you this watch serves all those purposes for me. Very, very, very happy with it. Again, Tyler, I'll just say, like, I gave you kind of the rough outline, a fairly specific outline of kind of what I wanted. I know this is a pretty popular model and you probably didn't have to think too hard once I kind of told you what I was looking for, but you nailed it. 100% on the dot. This is the watch that'll be on my wrist for the foreseeable future. I cannot think of a single reason, again in the comments let me know if you think there is, a single reason why I would want or need a different watch than this. With the exception of analog face, so that if, you know, whatever happened, that the battery died or the screen gave out on me, you had that option. Also, I should mention, yeah, this is solar powered. It'll have high, medium, or low down at the bottom, an H, an M, or an L, depending on what the charge is currently at. And when it came out of the box, it was at medium. It stayed there for a few weeks or a couple weeks. Then I was on a wildfire trip where I was out in the bush for a couple weeks in the sunlight, and this thing was up to high within a day or two, and it stayed at high ever since then. So the battery life seems to be very good. The solar seems to work very, very well. Again, for the name and the brand and the price, you're getting into the realm of things where this should work really, really well for a very long time. The warranty, I believe, is half decent on these too. It's just a great watch, and I know a lot of people who've had them are very, very keen to brag them up, and the reviews are pretty glowing across the board for these. So the Casio Pro Trek, whatever the freaking number this model is, again, down in the title because I don't remember what it is or what it's called, other than the Pro Trek and my favorite watch. My only watch and the only watch I will wear, and the only time it leaves my wrist is maybe doing kettlebell swings, or not swings, but kettlebell clean or presses or something like that, where the kettlebell is leaning against my watch. Sometimes I'll reverse it, but sometimes it's easier to take it off. Other than that, I want to say the only time I've taken it off is for this video. So yeah, you're welcome. You got to see me take it off on camera. That's all. Thank you for watching. If you want to see some knife videos, you can check out some stuff that's going to be popping up in the right of your screen. There's going to be some other non-knife content coming up on the channel as well, but knives are the center of what I like to talk about and the center of this channel. So if you're into some other gear stuff and you want to see me talk about backpacks and watches and stuff like that, let me know and I'll maybe prioritize some more of that. For now, this is the Hard On Gear channel signing off.